How's it going, Eliminators? Today, we're just going to be doing some shop talk, talking about some stuff that I've worked on recently, stuff that I'm currently working on, and things that you're going to see in some upcoming videos. We've been absolutely swamped with work lately, which isn't really a complaint, it's more of a blessing, and I haven't really had time to film much of anything. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So we've been pretty busy lately. I got a whole bunch of equipment here. You guys will remember this snowblower from this past weekend's video on how to properly set the governor and throttle linkages on an HMSK 80 Tecumseh snowblower engine there. So we finally got the muffler in, so that's all hooked up. The customer had previously broken that bolt there, so we just put a screw in there to hold that top piece. That is a common issue on these mufflers. These bolts normally break off, so induction heat would be a good thing to use there, the mini ductor from Induction Innovation. So if I ever get one where I have to remove a muffler and the bolt isn't already broken, I'll probably do a video on that, but that's ready to go. And I have a whole bunch of equipment here. All of this stuff is pretty much done except for this rototiller here. This is an old Hahn rototiller with a Briggs & Stratton engine. I believe Terrell Fixes All has a video on one of these on how to get it running. So I just have the back cover off so that I could show you guys. We ended up putting a belt on there. I believe that was a 3/8 by 20-inch belt. So I just have to do a couple minor adjustments to the cable here, and then that works perfectly. So I can show you guys a video of that running. So that's a cool little piece of history there. My customer was happy that I was able to fix that up. The issue was that not only did he smoke the belt on it, which I can show you a photo of that, but the engine didn't run all that well. So we ended up putting a solid state coil onto that. So I can show you guys a picture of that as well. And that pretty much fixed the spark issue. We had all kinds of good spark after that. Apart from that, we got some Champion generators here. This one, when it was running, was chugging black smoke. That ended up needing a needle valve and a carb rebuild, so the carburetor was flooding, causing the engine to run rich. And on this little 2000 watt generator here, this one needed a carb clean. It had some water in the fuel, but once I did get it running, it wouldn't throttle up properly. So what we ended up doing was, believe it or not, this one had a little spark arrestor on the muffler, and we removed that, and it was, you know, completely clogged with carbon deposits, similar to the video that I did on a chainsaw spark arrestor. So for this model, because he's not using it in the woods, you know, or an area where you would worry about fire, we just completely removed that to prevent the issue from happening again. So that one had a carb clean and some fresh fuel. We did an oil change as well, and now that thing fires up. So I can show you some videos of them running. And you'll notice that we used a little meter to check the hertz and also the voltage output of the generator there. And then what you want to do is adjust the idle control screw so that these generators put out 60 hertz at around 120 volts. That's here in Canada or North America. And by setting it to 60 hertz output, you're going to make sure that all of your equipment is running properly and you're not going to be damaging anything. I also have a couple Cub Cadet Cc 30s here. The difference between this one and the other one is this one is a CC30H for hydrostatic drive, so it has the gas pedal or throttle pedal there. You can go forwards or back. This is the premium one compared to the one back here where you pretty much put your foot on the brake, select a gear, let your foot off, and then the thing kind of tends to jump forward. So those ones are more expensive. That one just came in for basic service and it kind of surged a little bit. So you guys will know these take, it's kind of like a Honda designed carburetor. This has a Pow-R-Boy engine, both of these units do, but the carburetor on these is similar to a Honda, and if it surges, it means it's not getting the proper fuel mixture. So I have a video on how to slightly oversize the pilot jet, and this one I took it up to 20 thousandths of an inch, and that is approximately 2 to 2.5 thousandths of an inch oversize on the pilot jet. So that thing runs perfectly smooth now. And this one had the same issue that the generator had. This is a 2019 model, and my customer said that when he would run it, as soon as he would engage the mower deck, it would start chugging and putting black smoke out of the muffler, and that ended up needing a needle valve and also a replacement washer in the bowl that goes in between the main jet tower and the bowl. I'm going to be doing a video on that in the future. Obviously, I didn't have time to film anything because we've been swamped. So that was last week's video. Next weekend, you guys are going to see a deck repair video on this Kubota here. So my customer ended up getting this from his father. This is a Kubota twin cylinder liquid cooled TG 1860G. It's a nice machine. These sell here in Canada for about $4,000. And I saw one without the mower deck on it selling for that price. And this one, I can get a shot here for you guys. The mower deck has got a whole bunch of holes into it. So we're gonna be doing a weld repair. So what I'll do is remove the deck, get the plasma cutter out, make some nice squares and rectangles, cut them out, and then weld in some new plate. That'll probably be the next video you guys see on the channel. But quickly going back to this one, there's a washer that goes in between the bowl and the, I guess, main jet tower, and I'll try to put a picture up on screen for you guys. But essentially what happens on these, if the needle valve isn't leaking, if that gasket leaks because they get too compressed, it ends up putting excess fuel into where the main jet is, and that ends up causing a rich fuel mixture. So that'll also make the muffler puff out black smoke. That's a common sign. Apart from that, coming into the shed here, I do have this Craftsman 924, and that you probably saw sitting up against the back wall in the shop. So we finally ended up getting some parts for this, even though it's springtime now. We put this together. We're going to be selling it to a friend of ours for a discount, so he can keep it till next season, or he can, end up selling it, making a little bit of profit. I still have the Champion generator here. Parts are still on order to get that plastic panel in, and a couple other parts that I ordered. And then, as I said, I will be TIG welding the gas tank there in a future video. So I'm going to wait until parts come in and try to finish that up as a part 2 video. And then basically we can wrap up that repair, and hopefully I can sell that for a profit. Now, you guys know that I have a Lincoln Electric MIG welder. However, in order to weld the fuel tank on that Champion generator that I own, I went out and bought a brand new Forney 421 TIG welder. Now, this TIG welder here is pretty cool because it's kind of like a 2-in-1. You can do TIG welding, but you can also do shielded metal arc welding, which is the handle with the rod right down there. So you can hook that up. This thing runs AC or DC, so alternating current or direct current, and it also has high frequency start, which is a lot of confusing stuff, but probably going to be doing a video on this in the future. I ended up getting the TIG welder, a bottle, regulators, some rods, and pretty much anything that I need to TIG weld from Lock 8 Equipment here in Port Colborne, Ontario. However, when they sold me this welder, I needed a cart for it, and unfortunately, this TIG welder, as you guys can see, is a lot bigger than my MIG welder. And I pretty much figured that out as soon as we finished assembling the MIG cart there. I said, wow, that TIG is not going to fit. So it's a good thing we had a larger cart there. So basically, as you guys can see, we just did a swap over. The MIG is now on the new MIG cart, and the larger TIG is on the TIG cart that's a little bit bigger. The only thing is, when putting the MIG welder onto this cart, the bottle is sitting here. You guys can see I've slid the MIG welder forward a little bit. So the inert gas line, this is what shields your weld, goes straight in from the back of the welder. And obviously, if you slid that back, we could run into an issue where the line kinks against the back of the tank. So I've ordered an AW 407 90-degree inert gas fitting, and basically I'll be able to hook it up like that so that the gas line comes right out of there straight to the tank, and then I could kind of shimmy this back, and I don't know, we'll see about the 90-degree fitting touching the tank there. But like I said, I haven't even had a chance to break out the Tig Welder yet. I pretty much just got it set up on the cart there, and the only thing is I got some C-clamps here holding it so that it doesn't shift left or right. But this cart here does have, see if I can get a shot of it, a little clamp, so it holds it back. But I think what I'll do is once I do get this thing set up and working, I'll end up welding some little 90-degree tabs there just so that the TIG welder doesn't move around. And yeah, I can't wait to start TIG welding with that. I haven't TIG welded in about 14 years, believe it or not. But in order to weld that Kubota deck out there, I'm going to be using the MIG welder for that. And this is pretty much all set up. The only thing I'm going to do is probably hook my line in and then just leave the welder pulled forward for now until that fitting comes in, which it should be in on Tuesday. But you guys are behind in YouTube TV time, so yeah, this is only going to be for aluminum, stainless steel, and then some very fine welding in mild steel, which is going to be something like welding up that fuel tank for the fuel valve. Apart from that, we actually had one of our viewers reach out to me, and he brought down this old rototiller engine, and that thing got a new solid state coil. You guys can see it there. So that thing starts up and runs, and we ended up trading that for a bunch of old equipment that he could use in his small engine repair classes to kind of help instruct people that are trying to learn the trade. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was a good trade, and he ended up giving our channel a shout out, and we ended up giving him the old Oregon cordless electric lawnmower just so he can kind of show off some of the new technology, even though that one didn't work out as well as I would have hoped. You guys probably saw the update video on that. If you didn't, I'll link it. But yeah, that thing, the batteries pretty much didn't last as long as they should have. It could have been a defective motor, but instead of going to the scrap, it ended up going to a small engine repair course, so at least they can have a look at it and possibly learn some things. Well, that's going to wrap up today's video. We're pretty much in the transitionary period between winter and spring, so the weather is changing. One minute it can be sunny and beautiful outside, the next minute it could be snowing and storming. Right now we're kind of in the middle of snow and rain, and it's pretty wet outside. But at this point we're slowing down the work on snowblowers, and we're starting to transition over to lawnmowers, generators, and riding lawnmowers. And like I mentioned, I will have the Kubota deck repair video posted next week, I'm hoping, so you guys will want to stay tuned for that. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed the video, think about leaving me a thumbs up. You know, it really helps me out. You can click here to subscribe and click over here to watch one of my previous videos. I upload every single week, so be sure to stop on by next week, check channel out for new content, and as always guys, thanks for watching.